Hi everyone, and welcome to today's video. I'm very excited. I think I have a good one for you guys. I don't know, well, you guys probably don't know this, but I get emails all the time from companies. And, they ask me, hey, would you look at our food? Would you do a video on it? Etc., etc. And I never say yes because I always look at them, and if they're no good or they're way off the mark, I don't even bother unless you guys have specifically asked me. But I got contacted by a company called Evermore Pet Food, and I did like I always did, and I looked through kind of what they were about and the ingredients, if it was something I could get on board with, and I was pleasantly surprised. And so this video is not sponsored. They're not paying me to do this. They just said, hey, if you want to take a look at our food, do a review on it. They didn't tell me what to say. They didn't give me any information. It was just straight as that. And they said, if you like it, we'll give you a code. Your subscribers can get a discount. And yeah, so that's what we're going to do today. I'm really excited. I'm going to share with you Evermore pet food, and we can hop over to their website, evermorepetfood.com, and we can check this out together. All right, so here we are, Evermore Pet Food, established in 2009. Their little slogan is hearty food for dogs. So this is going to be an exclusively dog food company. So sorry, you cat people, even though it's Purrs Day, we're going to be focusing on dogs today. Their whole thing is gently cooked, frozen fresh, and kind of the wholesome ingredients that you guys are always asking me about and interested in. And it's kind of that bridge between kibble and the unkibble. And so the first thing I did was I wanted to look into, okay, what does that mean, gently cooked? Because we have reviewed some foods before, like the unkibble brand, and the cooking temperatures were a little bit suspect. And so the first thing I did was, look into what does that mean before I go any further. What does gently cooked mean? And so if you follow, okay, here it is. So you need to go to food, you need to go to the Evermore difference, and then this is where they talk about their processing. You actually can watch this little video where it's talking about how the food is made. It's made in a USDA kitchen. I did not watch the whole video, and we're not going to do that today, but feel free to do that. I do like it when they kind of show you what the plant looks like, how they're doing the things that they're doing, the people that are there. And so I really do like that. What they're talking about when they say gently cooked, they actually are going into detail on how that process is done. Their gently cooked process is using a popular low heat culinary method called sous-vide. And so when I saw that, I was extremely happy. Why? Because I am very familiar with sous-vide. I actually cook my own food a lot of times sous vide, or I should say my husband cooks our food a lot of times sous vide. And so what that is you will take the ingredients or the meat source, and essentially you're going to package them, you're going to seal them, and so that they're completely sealed and they will not touch anything else but this package. And then you submerge this package into water, and the water is heated at a certain temperature, the temperature that is needed for safe cooking of that particular ingredient. And then as the water heats, it will eventually bring the temperature of the meat or the food or whatever you're cooking up to that temperature. But once it hits that temperature, it will not go any higher. And so it's really good for us when we cook. And actually I brought my sous vide machine just to show you guys. This is it. This is one made, again, not sponsored, but this is made by Innova, and what it'll do is you can actually see on there, it says like current temperature and set temperature. It will just take the food to the temperature that you say, so you can never overcook it. And it's really fun, and I'll put a timestamp if you don't want to learn about sous vide, but you can do things like you can put the water in your pot, and then you can put a piece of frozen meat in there, and you can set the temperature to 160, 170, whatever your cooking temperature is, and it will actually thaw the meat and then cook the meat and keep the meat there. So I can set that meat in there in the morning, and then it has Bluetooth, so I can say turn on at noon. It'll thaw the meat and cook the meat, and then when I get home, it's ready, and then all you have to do is take it out of the little package and then then sear it and, you know, add whatever you want. You can put spices in the bag. You can put anything in the bag. The bag never touches, you know, the meat or what's in the bag never touches the water. The other thing that you can do that I do sometimes is I'll put ice in there and fresh meat and then have it turn on, and it'll thaw the ice, bring it up to temperature, and cook the meat. So I really think this process is a really cool, innovative process. And so they're cooking, they're using that method, and they are cooking at lower temperatures, but they're still food, you know, food safe temperatures. Let's flash up, go to the food safety cooking temps. We've been to this website before, foodsafety.gov. Pull up the little chart. And so we're seeing here that we need beef to be at least 145. And 160 for ground meat and sausage. We need poultry to be at 165. We need pork to be at 145. Venison 160. So you can see all the temperatures here. And so they're saying here the beef is cooked to 159 or 160. Don't know if that's ground or not, but that does seem to be an appropriate temperature, 165 for poultry. And so I was very happy, and as soon as I saw that, I was like, please, 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 please let the nutrients be on point, because I was really happy that I found a food that I felt comfortable with the processing method, and it was that bridge between, you know, those ingredients, fresh ingredients everybody loves, and the unkibble, and, you know, not the extruded, not the processed. So yes, yes. There's some other things here you can, you know, go through. Again, some of this is marketing. So they're organic and sustainably sourced. They're here in America. More than 90% of their ingredients come from California and the Pacific Northwest. Every batch of food is tested for safety, so free of pathogens, salmonella, E. coli, all that stuff. So they're taking safety, you know, to a very high level. Okay, so you can look through some of that stuff there. So let's go through this food now that I kind of covered the basics as far as the processing goes, and why I feel like this gently cooked recipe is safe to, you know, go a little bit further. We're going to go ahead and jump into the PSS scoring system. I did look at it already in advance, because again, when a company reaches out to me, I'm not going to do a video, especially if nobody else has asked me about it, unless I absolutely think it's a good option for you guys. And so I did go through this, and I did look at some of the numbers. So let's go back to the recipes. We're going to go through the PSS system, and so we're going to grade it on the AFCO statement. We're going to grade it on grain-free or raw. We are going to grade it on the guaranteed analysis, of course, or the nutrient profile. We're going to grade it on the resting energy requirement calculation. You know, did they recommend us the right amount of food for the weight of our pet? And so let's go to, actually, before we do, well, should I do this now or later? I'm going to do it now before I forget, because sometimes I say I'm going to do this and I don't do it. Let's check really quick. I did look at it before, but I don't remember. Is the food formulated or put together by a board certified nutritionist or a nutritionist of some sort? So it says that Evermore is a 2-woman owned company, a trained health supportive chef, so that's a human thing, and a long-term dog care professional. They're not specifically saying what the qualifications are. They began in Brooklyn. We put our hearts, our committed customers. Okay, it doesn't say. I think I'll, they emailed me, I can email them just as easily. I think I'll email them and ask them, you know, who formulated their food or how did they get their food formulated. But either way, if the nutrients are there, it makes a lot of sense. Although there's more things that go into a food, bioavailability, things like that. How do the nutrients interact? That's why it's really important if you are doing a home cooked diet. It's not so much just what you put in, it's how the things you put in interact with each other. And so I am really interested if they had a certified nutritionist. Let me check my email really quick and see. I didn't email them. I will do that for you guys and find that bit of information out, because that's a bonus point. Let's move on now to, again, back to the PSS system. Let's move on to see here what they have and what recipes they have to offer. And so we're going to start off with the chicken recipe. we are going to look for the AFCO statement first. And so here are the ingredients. We've already established it's not raw. This is sous vide cooked. And they are including chicken hearts, eggs, organic sweet potatoes, organic carrots, liver, organic kale. Looking here for some grains to make sure. Organic oats, organic barley. Happy about that. So that checks off 2 points there. Not grain-free and not raw. Now we're moving down to the Evermore's chicken recipe AFCO statement. And so it's saying Evermore's chicken recipe is formulated. So again, I want to find out who did that formulation. Was it, a board certified nutritionist? Are the ingredients that they're putting in here, they sound really good? Are they playing nice together? And so I am going to shoot them an email, and hopefully they'll get back to me about that. If one of you guys get an answer before me, let me know, and we'll go ahead and pin your comment. But anyway, formulated to meet the nutritional levels established by AFCO dog nutrient profiles for adult. And so they're going to get a point here. It was formulated. We're going to get hopefully more information on that. But it is for adult dogs. So it's not all life stages. It is made specifically for adults. It's going to be targeted specifically for your adult dog. We're not lumping together a bunch of life stages and being really lazy. We are paying attention to detail. I really like that. So we're going to get a point. So that's bringing us up right now to 3 points, which I think is a really strong start. Okay, so here I like this little chart they have. They've got your guaranteed analysis, which we know is minimums and maximums, not ideal, not what we want. We want to have specifics. They are listing here the as fed, and then you can see how that is going to differ because this is a gently cooked, non-kibble food. There is quite a bit of moisture when it's, the way that it's fed, and the standards are on a dry matter basis. We've got to remove that moisture because every food's different. Probably all their foods are different. And so Small Animal Clinical Nutrition, the textbook that we use to evaluate these foods and compare them, is going to be on a dry matter basis. So we're going to focus on that. Now, they don't have all the parameters we want. It's just a little snippet, a little snapshot. So we do have to click the full nutrient profile button here to bring us up this really nice facts chart that literally has everything we need and more. A lot of you guys asked me about other parameters. You can go through Small Animal Clinical Nutrition, and if you want, you can go through every single parameter. And if you do that, let us know what you find out. But we're going to go through the 5 that we do as far as the PSS system. Okay. So we're going to have, first thing we need to do is check the metabolizable energy because we need that to be close on a dry matter basis to 4,000. It's 4,255, so it's pretty close. Next, we're going to jump, oh, dang it, stop doing that. Now we're going to jump on in to the analysis. You can see here, I know a lot of you guys, my friends, Glenn, you guys like to do things on a per kcal basis. They do have a box here for the macronutrients on a kcal basis. So there you go if you fancy that. But we're going to use percentages on a dry matter basis because that's how I feel comfortable and how I was trained to evaluate these things. And so here we've got the adult standards based on Small Animal Clinical Nutrition, and we're going to see how the chicken formula from Evermore stacks up for an adult dog. So crude protein is coming in at 46.6, a little bit higher than I would like for an adult dog. We would anticipate ideal performance for your normal sedentary house dog to be ideal at between 15 and 30, so they are going to lose a point there. Crude fat at 20.4 is a little bit slightly bit over by 0.4, so they are going to lose a tiny little bit of a point there. The fiber at 2.2 is good, so they're going to get a point there. It just needs to be less than 5. And then this is the part, I know that the protein and the fat were a little bit off from ideal. I can usually live with that. I would like it to be ideal, but I can usually live with that if it's between some of the other foods that miss this next mark and this food, because you absolutely are not going to feed a kibble. I can be a reasonable person, and this is where I feel comfortable saying, this may not be a bad option for you guys, and that's coming down here to the minerals. And so we've got our calcium and phosphorus, and this is where a lot of times we run into trouble. And so ideally for the adult dog, the calcium, we need between 0.5 and 1, and they're coming in at 0.9 on a dry matter basis, which is awesome. And then phosphorus at 0.65. We needed between 0.4 and 0.8, so they're going to get a point there. So that's going to bring them up so far to a 6. And so the last parameter that we are going to grade them on is going to be the feeding guide, which we're going to go to here in a minute. They would get a bonus point, you know, potentially if this is formulated by a nutritionist or they have a nutritionist on staff, but I don't know the answer. I do want to, sometimes I did have subscribers say, you know, can we just take it to the next level? Can you hit some of the other nutrients as well? Really quick, we're going to run through that for you. And Miss Wheatler, we're going to run through this for you. Vitamin E, ideally we want it greater than 400. And come down here, where is our vitamin E? I did see it somewhere. Here it is. They're giving us 642, so I think that that is fantastic. Vitamin E in a very nice high level. Some of these foods have a little wimpy like 50 on there, tricking us to think, oh, 50 is great when really we need greater than 400. So yes on that. Vitamin C, we would like to see that over 100. Are they listing vitamin C for us? Not seeing that listed. A, D, E, B. Okay, yeah, no, they're not going to give us vitamin C. That's fine. Chloride, so that's going to be your salt. We want that. Here it is, sodium. 0.26 on the sodium. And the chloride 0.39. So yes, this is going to be a nice low chloride. Sodium and chloride a lot of times go together, but sodium coming in at 0.26. Ideally, we want it between 0.2 and 0.4, and chloride at 0.39. We want it between 0.3 and 0.6. So sodium chloride is very good on this one. They do list, and I'm not going to do this for every single food, but you guys have these parameters, you know, these small animal clinical nutrition parameters, so you can do this for every food. All the remainder foods, we're just going to go through the PSS system, but I did want to show you where these things were at on this food so that you can, those of you that are interested, you know where to look and you can go into it a little bit further. I do get a lot of people asking me about amino acids. There are 10 amino acids in the dog that are essential. What does that mean? Because people tell me, well, I've heard that you should rotate foods because it provides a more complete amino acid profile. That is marketing. I don't really think that's not something the veterinarians or veterinary nutritionists actually recommend. It's something that when you hear it marketing, it's like, oh yeah, that makes sense. I want to give them all the amino acids. Yeah, that's a little tricky trick. That's not actually true because there's only 10 that are essential, and what that means is those 10 the body cannot synthesize. You must consume those, and then the other ones that are non-essential, it's not non-essential to life. It's non-essential to be consumed because your body will actually synthesize those amino acids from components that it gleans from other things in the diet. And so the little thing that they don't tell you is the normal protein sources in commercial pet foods, pork, poultry, chicken, beef, they all have all the essential amino acids. So it does you no good to switch from pork to chicken. It still has all the essential amino acids that you need in there already, and then your body will synthesize the other. So that's a bunch of a marketing thing. So if you hear anybody tell you that you need to switch foods so that you can get a more complete amino acid profile, that's just chemically, that just doesn't make any sense to me because that's not how the body works. And so here you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. They're listing way more than just the essential ones. So for example, here taurine is not essential in the dog. Dog can actually synthesize that. Cat, it is essential. Cat cannot synthesize that. So there's just a little bit of extra bonus information for you guys if you've ever wondered that or have heard that, and just kind of want to dispel that myth a little bit. I don't know off the top of my head what numbers are necessary here. That is in small animal clinical nutrition. They have a whole section on amino acids, so feel free to go into that if you really want to geek out, but we're not doing that today. So right now you can see this chicken recipe is up to a 6. We need to figure out really quick if this feeding guide is correct. Oh, there it is. How to feed. They have a feeding calculator. All right. Evermore is a complete balanced diet on its own. It also makes a great kibble topper. You guys know I don't like toppers. I don't like adding things or mixing things. It gets very confusing to calculate your calories. And I mean, I guess you could do that, but in general, people just eyeball it, and I don't like that. I don't like inaccuracy, so I don't like using things as toppers. Plus, you don't know how the nutrients in this will interact with the nutrients of another diet. So I'm not a big fan of toppers. So, you know, it says it makes a great topper, but I don't think there's such thing as a great topper. They're going to make suggestions. They based our calculations on feeding 2.5 to 3.5 of your pet's body weight daily. So let's see. I've never calculated it like that before. They might be just oversimplifying it. So let's see. They've got all their recipes here, so it should be easy. I guess I could just do all of them really quick. So 20 pound dog, they're saying they should feed 11 ounces. And so we know for a 20 pound dog, we need it somewhere between 363 and 538. That's 363 obese prone, 538 your more active dogs. That's using a multiplier. I tend to like to feed my dogs a little bit on the lower end because most dogs, at least that I come across in my practice, tend to be leaning towards obesity and sedentary lifestyle. So let's see, 11 times 32. 352. So they are suggesting, they're suggesting the lower end. And I do find this with most of the fresh foods. Similarly, I found this with the farmer's dog because it's a fresh food, and I think it becomes cost prohibitive for a lot of people and just space prohibitive. They tend to shy on the lower end. And I did have some issues with clients feeding the farmer's dog with their pets being really, really thin at the suggested feeding. They are saying this is a starting, and I agree with them. This is just a place to start, and then you may have to go up. So that's going to bring this up to a 7, which I think is a fantastic score. And that's why I was saying I was pretty excited about this. It's a little bit higher than I would like on the protein and the fat. The fat was off just like a little tiny smidge, but it was off, so I can't give them the point for that. But the chicken recipe is going to score a 7. Let's just go through really quick while we're here, because we are going to breeze through the other recipes and see if they're all going to get the point for the feeding guide, because that will make it easier a little bit later on. So 8 ounces of the beef for a 20 pound dog at 40. It's shying a little bit lower, but it is pretty close, so I'm going to give them the point. Lamb 41, and they're saying 8, so 328. They're all in that 300-ish. A little bit lower though. I mean, I would like it closer to 363. They're in the 320, so it is a little bit lower than I would like. So do keep that in mind. You may have to feed more, which means it is going to cost more. Turkey, 11 ounces at 32, 352. So, I mean, they're all going to get a point for it, but do know if you feed this food, that low end, especially if you don't give treats like I don't, that low end is going to be it's probably going to be a very lean animal. But pretty close. So they are going to get a point for that. So let's speed through some of the other recipes to give you guys some options, potentially good options here, because I love to give you guys options that I feel good about and that you feel good about. So let's hop over to the beef and see. Let me write beef here. So we already got the 1 point for that. Here we got the ingredient list. So we've got beef heart, eggs. Got the sweet potato. We already know it's not raw, so they're going to get a point there. Do we have, yep, we have the barley and the oats, so they're going to get 2 points more on that. AFCO statement is going to look identical to the chicken, so they lose a point because it's formulated, but it is for adult maintenance, so they're going to get a point there. That's bringing the beef up to 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's pull up that full nutrient panel. Metabolizable energy. Metabolizable energy on this is going to be pretty high. I'm actually pretty amazed by that. 4,700. That is actually going to require a multiplier. Let me do that really quick for you. So what that means is if you have something that deviates really far from 4,000, you do need to use a multiplier. I have some videos if you are interested on how to do that. It is certainly in Small Animal Clinical Nutrition if you want to learn how. But I'm going to do that for you today because the video is already very long. So I'm just going to boom, there it is, new chart. All right, so let's run through the numbers with the corrected energy density. And so crude protein is coming in at 41.2. When we correct for the metabolizable energy density, we can go up to 35.1, but so this is still going to be in excess, so you're going to lose the point there. Let's see, the fat at 29.4. Again, even when corrected, is going to be a little bit excess because we need no more than 23.4, so a little bit excessive there. Again, on the fat, same as with the chicken, we're a little bit over. Fiber at 2.0, it just needs to be less than 5.5, so they are going to get a point there. And then let's get into the minerals, because this is where I think one of the most important aspects is. Because to me, it's attention to detail. It's attention to detail for sure. So calcium at 0.79 when we use the corrected value. Okay, so calcium when corrected, we need between 0.58 and 1.17. They're coming in at 0.79, so yes, a point there. And then the phosphorus at 0.55, we need the phosphorus between 0.46 and 0.94, so a point there. So the beef is getting a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 as well. Another good option. Let's move on to the next one's going to be turkey. So we already know turkey's going to get 1 point for the feeding guide. We've got, it is not raw. We are going to have, let's see, eggs, butternut squash, carrot, turkey livers, kale, apples, dandelion greens, cranberries, parsley, pumpkin seeds. So I am not seeing any grains in this, so this might be a grain-free option, so they will lose a point for that. It's not, oh, there it is. It says it right there. Golly, Doctorate, use your head. Grain-free, so they are going to lose that point, and they're going to lose the point for being formulated, but they are going to get a point for being for adult. And so this one, we're going to see if we can still get up to at least a 7. I will say that there was another area here that said that they are avoiding some of the pulses that we know are an issue. So I will say that although this is grain-free, and I know there's a lot of debate out there, I am also saying that there are none of those pulses that we are now starting to believe is the majority of the problem. So it is, shall I give them a half point? I'm going to give them a half point. No, I'm not going to get into that habit, because if I get into that habit, this is going to be like the Wild Wild West. I'm going to give them a point right now. Maybe later, we get some more data or some research, we'll change that, but we're just going to stick with what we normally do. We're just not going to get fancy today. Let's pull up the nutrient profile. Energy density 4,424. I think that's pretty close. I don't know that we're going to need to do the conversion. We'll see. If it's falling really close to the reference range, I'll do the conversion on this one. But you do know if you want to be most precise, you do need to do that conversion. It's only like a half 4,400. So I usually will do the conversion if it's over 4,500. That's just totally me. That's not in literature. You should correct all of these, but I just know statistically it becomes infinitesimal unless it's like above 4,500 statistically. So let's just pull back up our chart here, and we're going to go with the good old chart. Turkey, we need between 15 and 30. They're coming in at 54. Wow, that's pretty high. 54 is pretty high. So they're definitely going to lose the points there. That's amazing. That's a really high protein level. Fat, 24.2 is going to be over. We want it closer to 20. Crude fiber at 2.4, we are going to get a point there. And then let's go down to the minerals. Calcium at 1.0 is going to be right at the upper end of the reference range, but because it's more calorically dense, we know they will get a little bit more leeway on the upper end, so that should be fine. So they're going to get a point on the calcium. And then the phosphorus, 0.69, they're going to get a point there. So that's going to bring the turkey up to, I believe, a 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. A 6 because of that grain-free situation. So, maybe if it were between the chicken, which is the poultry. There's not really a whole lot of difference between, at least for food allergies, turkey and chicken, because they're both in the poultry family, so they're both going to stimulate that same allergy. I would go with the chicken, and then of course the beef was a good option as well. Last one, I believe, is going to be the lamb. So let's see here, lamb. We got 1 point for the feeding guide. We know it is not raw, so a point for not being raw. This is also a grain-free option, so again, we're going to lose the point for that, but I also am giving an honorable mention that there are no, that's what we're calling, it's an honorable mention. They get honorable mention that there are no pulses, so I'm giving them that. I'm giving them an honorable mention on that. See how nice I am? All right, so moving on to the AFCO statement. It is for adult maintenance. It was formulated, so they get 1 point there. Bringing them up to 3 points. So yes, 1 for not being raw, 1 for correct life stage, and 1 for feeding guide. So let's pull up the nutrient profile. Ooh, wow. Now see here, dry matter basis, nutrient density 5,000. I'm gonna have to do that calculation again for you guys, because that's a big difference. So I'm going to have to do that as well. So 1, 2, 3, boom. All right, so their protein, dry matter basis, 45.3, even with the energy density correction, it's going to be too high, and the upper limit is going to be 37.5, so they're gonna lose a point there. Fat at 35.2, with the energy correction, only goes up 25, so they're gonna lose a point there. Fiber 2.3, only needs to be less than when you correct 6.25, so they are gonna get a point for that. So let's give them a point for that. Down here to the minerals. Minerals. Calcium, 0.82. Get a point for that. They can go all the way up to 1.25. So point there. And phosphorus, 0.57. They can go up to 1, a low being 0.5. So they are going to get a point there. So bringing up the lamb to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So lamb is stalling out as a 6 as well because of the grain-free, but honorable mention there. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I think this could be a good option. Price-wise, let's look at that. Okay. I think you have to buy, I think you have to buy by the ounce is what it's looking like. So let's go to the beef really quick. So 1 pound, 1 pouch, so I think that's a unit. A unit is a pouch, is 645 calories. And so I would say, if we divide that in 2, that would be half a pouch would be a starting place for a 20-pound dog. And so let's go back to the buy really quick. I think that's how it's doing it. I'm not 100% sure. If you feed this food, let me know, because I don't 100% understand how they're selling it. I think 1 unit is 1 pouch, and so 1 pouch is $13. So that's like, so for a 20-pound dog, that $13 would last you 2 days. Is that right? I'm not sure. That's pretty expensive. $6 a day. That's pretty expensive. That can't be right. Yeah, no, that's true. That's what it is. So that's a little bit pricey. But that's up to you. That's a personal preference. So there you have it. Evermore Pet Food. I'm happy to find an option that I think can satisfy both my desires as a veterinarian. They were all excessive protein and fat, but I feel like I could maybe live with that, seeing as the minerals were okay, the life stage was okay, and it is a good option for those of you, or at least it's the best option that we have found so far for those of you that are on that unkibbled train. So I was happy to find that. I was happy they reached out to me. If you guys are going to try this food and you want to, I think they give you a discount. I don't know. I'll put the details in the description box. I really don't honestly know. They emailed me and said we'll give you a code to give to your subscribers. So I will put that in the description box. Hopefully it's something that you guys will get a discount. It is a little bit of a pricey food. And if you do, let me know if it's something that's a good option, and share it with your friends and like and subscribe and do all the things. And we will hang out again next Thursday. And yeah, I'll catch you guys then. Bye.